one of the best audio engineering course and audio mixing course represented today by Andrew Zeleno and Rupert Neve. Hi guys from Canada. Each week I create one 100 minutes lesson. On every Monday Canada evening time I publish 10 minutes free video, which is exact part of that full 100 minutes video. So 10% is for free. Subscribe and learn from these free videos each week and use these free videos as an example what full 100 minutes video you can buy and do it each week. Of course, buying full lessons is not only 100% instead of 10% of all topics and all information. My course has very cool system, crafted system from A to Z to bring audio intuition and critical thinking approach to your mixing skills. Each lesson has a huge value. Read the description and the first pinned comment to find out how to buy this full lesson number 4 or any other lesson and for more details. Remember, due to my success, I was under attack by jealous haters on their controlled Reddit forum, where they deleted all supporting comments. In 5 days from now, in the first pinned comment, I will post a link to the video where I explained all this story, also how the government gave me the top-ranked audio engineer status, also how the government awarded me to the contribution to audio engineering field. Check it out, the first pinned comment and the description. Another unbelievable situation, you can make your instruments farther. Check it out, you don't understand, right? At the previous class I explained I have patent, absolutely unbelievable discovery in audio production. I spent like 20 years on psychoacoustic discovery, also my bachelor degree of university, and I graduated from elite physics mathematics lyceum back in the days. So it allowed me sort of at least to simplify and to understand physics behind panorama, how panorama can move actually instruments farther away and closer to you, like this. So we're gonna be talking about this in our lessons, especially in the topic called reverb, something related to it in EQ and something related to it in panorama, what we are studying right now. So basically, if, let's say like this, if your instrument has at least some aspects properly put in EQ, or maybe coincidentally it just happens in EQ of your instrument, and in frequency response of your instrument, and the same coincidentally happening in your reverb, let's say balance between early reflections, late reflections, special structure of early reflections and late reflections, their frequency responses. Now you can widen or narrow down your instruments and you make instruments closer or farther. It's crazy. A lot of people don't understand that panorama actually affecting farther and closer positioning. But actually the truth, to make instruments farther, but only with one sort of condition. You need to make sure it works in terms of EQ and reverb. So we're gonna say, if there is special situation in EQ and reverb. So in this case, yes, you can put instruments farther. Just imagine in stereo sound, you make 3D surround sound where instruments become farther, and even farther. Imagine the best audio engineers in the world, they can mix wide, they can mix clear, but their mixes sound flat because it's stereo. Now imagine you have surround sound quality in your stereo. It's just a phenomenon, you know what I mean? So now absolutely interesting example, I'm gonna explain how exactly instrument become farther and closer. Check it out. Imagine this. You as a music producer, let's say you're a young music producer, you still didn't learn to respect people, you still play music loudly, at home, in the neighborhood, and you decided to produce music the whole night and you live in multi-apartment building. So the whole night you like boo, 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 boo from your subwoofer, you know what I mean? And in your multi-apartment building there are a lot of old women, you know what I mean? Grandmas. So they didn't sleep at night because of you and stuff. So in the morning they decided to create a gang, sort of street gang, 10 grandmas, they come together, they put some colorful bandana on them and stuff, you know, so they meet you in the morning and they want to beat you, you know what I mean? Imagine bird's eye view, so like from the top to bottom. So it's a sort of wall of the grandmas. So they stay like this, shoulder by shoulder, you know. And you is over here. So you direct it to them face to face, like this. So you stay very close to them. They come close to you, They ready to attack you and stuff. And they all screaming at you, They create noises, a lot of noise from everywhere. So for you, stereo field of the stereo synthesizer will be very wide. Because you still hear some grandma from very left side and some grandma from very right side. For you, it's a wide stereo field. So it's how it works in real life in physics. Now, what you do, you try to say something like, relax, grandmas, all good, and you start like to withdraw a bit, like creating some distance between them and stuff. But they still stay at the same place, still screaming at you, but you managed to make at least some distance, so you go back like this. Now, for you, the stereo sound, the stereo synthesizer, grandma stereo synthesizer, for you, it's narrower because the leftist source of the sound and the right source of the sound for you already a bit closer to the middle of panorama. It's not from very left and from very right. It's more like a bit from the front, you know what I mean? But it still has some stereo field. That's why in real life, physics works like this. It allows you to understand why some sound can be like narrower and wider and how it affects the distance. In this case, of course, sound of this grandmass will change in reverb sound, in acoustics, let's say, and in EQ. But if for some reason your instrument at least has some proper tendency in EQ and reverb, which I will explain those nuances later in EQ and reverb topic, you will be able actually to control the distance to the source, to the stereo synthesizer, just by panorama. So when I mix, I use panorama as a distance control as well as EQ and reverb. This is the point. It's crazy, right? Imagine now you can create basically layers of the sound when something sounds close, something sounds farther, something sounds like on the layer 2, on the layer 3, on the layer 4, So it can be amazing when you close your eyes and instead of just good sound, you hear this like world of the sound, surround sound. So this is what we put over here to make instruments farther and when to narrow down. You do it when you need to make instrument farther, you narrow down your stereo instruments. There are a lot of more to say. It's just like very sort of introductory nuance to it, but it's amazing, right? At the previous class, we were talking about very important aspect called mono incompatibility. I explained that guys, top-end audio engineers like Chris or Delgi, they're not right when they say, I don't want narrower mixes, so I don't care about monocompatibility. Very important that you read first pinned comment in the description to find out how to buy any lesson, any group of lessons, how to book a private session where I will check your mix, and for more details. Let's go further. In what cases you need to narrow down the instruments? Again, for two reasons, and still very cool facts. Check it out. When to narrow down. To get a contrast. Again, what I mean by this, if, again, you, let's say, recorded amazing guitar, let's say, and you're a guitarist, like I am, for example, right? You enjoy this, like, super powerful, overdubbed electric guitars when you play twice. I have an Angle Powerball 2 amplifier over there under my LA2As and 1176s and SSLs. In my Studio B, I enjoy Wizard, one of the most expensive guitar amplifier. It's sort of a Marshall moded sound, like super big and super fat. You record it twice, to the left, to the right. But now imagine, you start widening everything else. You have an orchestra on the back of your guitars, and you just make gigantic orchestra. You make gigantic pads, synthesizer pads. You create gigantic drums, let's say overheads and rooms and stuff. In the same thing going on in electronic music. Eventually, in the end of the day, you're not gonna say, oh, this is so big guitar, you know what I mean? So this is why sometimes maybe you can make your drums a bit, I don't mean like mono or narrow, but you can make your guitars a bit 70% narrow, while your guitar 100% wide. And you can say, oh my god, this guitar is really cool. You know what I mean? So to get a contrast. Very important that you read first pinned comment in the description to find out how to buy any lesson, any group of lessons, how to book a private session where I will check your mix, and for more details.